Welcome to this episode of Vote Like a Texan. In this episode, we're excited to be joined by Abhiram Garapati, who's running for Congressional District 31 in Central Texas. Abraham has run three previous campaigns, and with each one building success and momentum towards representing Central Texas. Abraham, thank you for joining us today.
Justin, my pleasure to be here, and I look forward to speaking and letting your viewers know what issues I stand on. And I'm thank you for allowing me to be part of your show.
I'm excited because you have a very American story and you have built a lot of success on hard work. You came to this country with, I think, $500 in your pocket
Yes,
and a plan to work hard. You're a Stanford graduate, and today you run successful businesses and you're really fiscally independent of this congressional role. And I appreciate that you make that very clear on your website. But what has you running for Congress today?
Justin, I came here 25 years back from a socialist country. I know what living on the other side is. And America has given me the opportunity. This is the land of opportunity. And I've accomplished the American dream coming here. I'm really thankful for America for giving me that opportunity to become successful. Now, I want to use this business experience that I've developed. I own real estate properties in 14 states of the US now. And I came here with nothing, as you mentioned. And I want to go. I'm the only politician without a donate button on my website. I don't want to take any campaign contributions ever, not take a salary if I go to Congress. Our country is facing enormous issues today, like the national debt, and these needs to be addressed. And I want to be the congressman who works for the people and solves the problems across the aisle and get things fixed for making America the best country in the world again.
Now, you also talk a lot about border security and having gone through the immigration process and becoming a U.S. citizen in 2010. What's your perspective on border security and the national conversation we're having about it?
Justin, I came here legally, stood in line for 15 years to get my citizenship. Absolutely very clear. We Americans love immigrants. There's no question about that. The only thing is we want everybody to respect the laws of the land. And that is to respect the immigration laws too. We want more people to come, but we want them to come legally, vetted by our USCIS, and then come to the country. I, as an immigrant myself, will make it easier for the immigrants to come here legally. And we don't want anybody to show up illegally because that does not help us in any way because they're not vetted, and we don't want anybody who is not vetted to enter the country.
Now, I also appreciate that you're running for Congressional District 31 in Central Texas, and you have an agriculture background as well. You have an active farm and ranch, and you've really become part of that community in Central Texas.
Absolutely, Justin. I'm blessed to have come to Texas as fast as I could. I was not born here, unfortunately, but God has blessed me with a farm, a ranch where I raise about 200 cattle. It's a blessing to be a farmer and a rancher, especially in Central Texas. And it gives me a lot of time to do some active agriculture and be part of the community. Meet a lot of farmers in my district. My district still is a lot rural, and we have a lot of farms and ranches in my district. And I'm so blessed to be where I am right now in Central Texas.
Well, I remember that as I drive through Central Texas, there are a lot of hayfields. There's a lot of people that still make a living as farmers and ranchers, even in the suburbs of Williamson County, even in areas that are seeing a huge technology boom. What brought you to Central Texas?
Justin, I was a real estate developer and I was buying properties across the country. And when I decided where to settle down myself, I picked Austin. I didn't know anybody here. I didn't know any relatives or job or anything. I just picked Austin because it was in the middle of three other major cities like Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio. Within a 3-hour distance, I can do business in 4 different major metropolitan areas was my primary consideration to coming to Austin. and that was the best decision I ever made. I love Austin, Austin and the Central Texas area. I've been blessed with a lot of. After coming here, I did really well in my business. So coming to Austin was the best decision I made. The only thing regret is I wish I could have come earlier.
Well, I understand that completely. I left and came back to Central Texas many times, but always drawn home. Now, you're out on a campaign trail, and this is your fourth campaign. So you've met a lot of people that are voting members in your district. But you gave me a stat before we started recording that it's a very low percentage that turns out for our March 3rd primaries. And I want to remind our listeners that February 23rd, early voting starts. And then March 3rd is really where the decision's made in the Republican Party, in the Democratic Party, in any form of the election. The primary gate is the first one. And if you don't have your voice heard at that level, you're really muted as you go into runoffs or as you go into a final November election. So, as you've gone around your district, what have you been hearing from voters and what gets them to the polls on March 3rd?
Justin, the future of our country is at stake here. Every election is important, and I mentioned this. People should participate in our elections. Less than 10% of the people showing up to vote in a primary is not at all acceptable. We have an early voting where there are no lines. People should walk in and walk out. Please, please, please exercise your franchise as a voter. Please participate in our democracy. Please pick the candidate that you like, but please make sure you vote for every election so that your vote counts, your voice is heard, and people across the district. I say this to everybody who I meet, asking them to exercise their franchise to vote.
Well, it's great to hear you out there doing that. And you've worked within the Republican Party to help bring education and interest into these races. What does that work look like at the state level with the Republican Party?
Justin, we are very active in the party. Especially in my 7 county district, we organize events we go to every festival. We put up a Republican stall there. We educate people on why they should be voting Republican or what are the virtues of being a Republican. And more than that, the grassroots connect of meeting business owners, understanding their issues across the district, across the state. We bring these issues to the state convention. At the state convention, we discuss this. I've been to 3 state conventions, and we bring the same issues that our people are concerned about, what the people are facing, like issues like inflation, issues like high interest rates. We escalate these issues to the national convention, and we bring these attention to the leaders who are in power, and we make sure the voice of the people is heard. As being a grassroots party worker like me, we make sure we amplify the message of how the people are facing, what problems they're facing, and how we should solve them.
So help me understand, as a congressional district, you're across 7 counties. How do you interact with the local representatives? So a county judge, a mayor, the other roles of government that occur. What is the role between those roles and a congressional member?
A congressional member is a bridge between the federal government and the local government. So the congressional candidate is talking to all the sheriffs of my district, talking to all the judges, local judges, the fire. The biggest problem I've heard numerous times across my district, Justin, is from the local fire departments. They don't have the funds. They are
I hear you say it. It is a scary reality in the hill country, and we are primed for.
Yes,
Uh,
all the entire local fire departments are funded by volunteer fire people with no paychecks, with no infrastructure. Nobody is paying for them, especially in rural counties. We need to stop funding overseas like USAID and take care of our local fire departments. That is what I'll be fighting for if I given a chance to be a member of Congress.
uh, Thank you for bringing it up and having the conversation. And I imagine people in your farming and ranch community are talking about that often. I know in my part of the hill country, we lose some of these newer houses. They're just so big. And these volunteer fire departments don't have the equipment
Mhm.
to stop a fire like that. So it goes into preventative firefighting. And that is unfortunate for the structure that we would lose ultimately. I, I, I see that as a big concern. I appreciate the bridge, the local to federal level, and thank you for that understanding. I want to ask and go back to you came into this country and became a US citizen and that is a process that's unique and I think it's a process that many Americans don't understand what does it take to go through that process legally and did that inspire your interest in running for public office?
Justin, there are a lot of people like me who escaped poverty, starvation, a war, a civil war. Even today, people are escaping a lot of these things across the world, and they look at America as a beacon of hope, of liberty and justice. And America is a country that inspires a lot of people like me to come here. We come here legally, and I'll tell my own story. I got a green card. I had to wait 5 years after getting the green card to get apply for my U.S. citizenship, and then I swore I got my U.S. citizenship, and I gave back the citizenship of my previous country. I had to surrender my passport and get my new citizenships. Uh, and then I sworn in as a new citizen of the country of America, and it was in 2010. And then I had to wait 10 years before I could file to run for Congress. And there is a lot of people, immigrants in this country, who are really nice people who came here legally, and I will represent their interests while in Congress. At the same time, protecting the interests of our American nationals in getting priority in getting jobs. And America first is going to be my policy across the board.
One of the concerns I have for your congressional district and broadly for the state is that we don't have enough engineers. And you live in a district that has a lot of technology engineers now, but statewide, education is a big opportunity for us. And that starts at the local high school levels into the elementary where we're teaching STEM. You have an engineering background and an engineering education. How do we see that shifting as we look forward in Texas?
Justin, education is key for us, for our future, for our vision. We need a lot of Elon Musks, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of technology entrepreneurs. I myself am an engineer, and we need to inculcate STEM education across the board, train our kids for getting the new jobs, especially with AI. AI is going to change everything. It's a game changer. And people need to be educated in all aspects of AI. And we need our kids to be up to speed in the new technologies. We can't go behind China, or we lag any other country as far as the newest of the technologies are concerned. We need a congressman who understands that education, technology, STEM, the vision of the country. And that's why I'm running for Congress, because I'm going against an 84-year-old incumbent who doesn't understand any of the latest technologies or how the world works in this generation. So we need change, and that's the change I'm trying to bring, so that we can, from the federal government level, we can help our kids somehow get ahead of the AI race. That's going to be a top priority for me.
And that's not just technology. Some people say, "Oh, it won't impact me," but I'm imagining in farming and ranching, I'm seeing technology, I'm seeing AI, I'm seeing all of those components of education show up in traditional old economy jobs that are modernizing and becoming much more efficient.
The world is going through a tectonic shift right now with artificial intelligence. The amount of computing that's going to happen and is going to drive. Earlier, Waymo, a lot of people were driving Uber and Lyft. Today, I see Waymo cars not just in Austin. Waymo is a driverless car in Cedar Park, in Leander. It's coming. It's coming. And we need our workforce to adapt to the new wave of technological changes. And we need to train our workforce. We need to educate them. We need to, especially the kids, next generation, they need to be on top of all the news, hyperscaling technologies that are coming up. And we need to have the vision of thinking 20, 30 years ahead of what is ahead of the curve, because every country is competing in this new AI race and we cannot be left behind.
Well, and you're on the forefront of that with your Congressional District 31 because companies like Firefly are landing on the moon. You have space coming in a big way to Cedar Park, and it's exciting to see because that is a statewide initiative. But I think it reinforces the need for more engineers, better education focused on the future. And that is leading to a lot of growth in Texas. And growth isn't always a popular word when you get out into the rural bands of the hill country. How do you talk about Texas growth?
Justin, we're fortunate to be here right in the middle of everything that's happening with SpaceX right here, headquartered in Austin, with Tesla right here, Samsung right here, and then Firefly right next door in Cedar Park and in Bricks. Technology is reshaping how Texas works going forward. And we are going to have smart growth, not just growth, smart growth, where we are creating value in the companies. And Texas is going to be the future of America. And the way Texas leads America, the world is going to go, and America leads the world. So we are going to be the state and the place to be watching for the next 20 years, because most of the innovation and exciting opportunities are going to be right here in Central Texas and all across Texas. Because we are a free state, we want to innovate, we want to have the least amount of government interference, the least regulations, lowest red tape. That's what Texas is, and that's why we are successful, and we are going to continue that path.
Abraham, thank you so much for your willingness to serve. It is a family decision when you say, I'm going to run for Congress. It's a full-time job. And you're very clear that you're not taking a paycheck. You're not taking donations. You are really running to serve. And I applaud that commitment. And you're making it in writing on your website. Where can people find more information about your campaign and get involved?
Justin, we are all over the social media. They can just search my name on Facebook or just go to my website, www.garapati, that's my last name, Garapati, for Texas.com. And they can know more about me there.
Well, thank you so much for spending time with us today. Happy New Year and good luck with your campaign. I want to remind everyone to show up February 23rd for early voting. Skip the lines, make it easy, but make sure your voice is heard at this stage of the election, and then again in the runoff, and then again in the general election in November. And candidates like Abhiram Garapati need you to show up and have your voice heard on March 3rd.
Absolutely. Thank you, all the viewers, and I really wish you a happy New Year, and let's make Texas great again.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Vote Like a Texan. Please remember to like and subscribe, and check out votelikeatexan.com.